Dallas Mavericks today coming at you here on a Thursday. You got Harrison, Graham, and Jeffrey Cooperstein. And today, Coop, is part 2 of our center trade target series. These 3 players, of course, proposed by Bleacher Report. We talked about Miles Turner a couple of days ago. Go check that out. Subscribe. It's right there in the content tab. If you want everything you need to know about Miles Turner, why the Mavs should or should not trade for him, that is right there for the people, Coop.
Yes, it's right there. We had a good time breaking down Miles Turner, and today we're going to break down Deandre Ayton, who we talked about briefly in the original show where we broke down all 3 names, and I think this one's a really interesting one, Harrison.
Yeah, no doubt about it, and of course, we'll take a look at Clint Capella later on in our series, but Deandre Ayton, Coop, I feel like he's kind of been a... Mavs fans, you either go one way or the other here.
You either love him or you don't.
Yeah, Mavs Twitter's like, oh yeah, bring him in, or the other people are like, he sucks. The reality is, he's a good player, not a great player. He would help this basketball team. I don't think there's any doubt about it.
At the end of the day, that's what it's all about. You're trying to upgrade the roster. Deandre Ayton certainly does that. Now, a path to a trade may be a little difficult, but he's still a player I'm interested in.
Yeah, you look at the Ayton file here, of course, I don't want to say infamously, but kind of is at this point. The number 1 pick in 2018 when Luka Doncic, of course, came to Dallas, has averaged a double-double every year of his career, one of the best rebounders in the NBA. Signed that 4-year max offer sheet with Indiana. Phoenix ended up matching it last year, even though it was kind of obvious that he wanted to leave, and him and Monty Williams didn't get along. Of course, he's now gone, Monty Williams is. So there's a thought maybe things can be reconciled there. We'll have to wait and see how it plays out. But it's also been pretty well documented, Coop, and we'll take a look at that in a minute, that Ayton would, I don't know if prefer is the right word, but he would definitely welcome a new opportunity.
He would welcome a fresh start. Yes, he would. It just hasn't worked out for whatever reason in Phoenix over the last couple of years, especially when the Mavericks beat them in the playoffs. I mean, Ayton basically refused to go back in the game in that Game 7 when the Mavs were blowing them out. So I don't know what exactly is going on there. Maybe, like you said, the new blood with Frank Vogel going in there in Phoenix and the injection of Bradley Beal, that Ayton will feel rejuvenated and might want to stay there. But I still think the Mavs would be dumb to not have Ayton on their radar.
Well, and look, like you could also say the flip side is true. Even though Monty Williams is gone now, Ayton, if he's looking at this objectively, he's their fourth option.
He's their fourth option.
I mean, KD, Book, and now Beal are clearly their top 3. Now, the reported trade offer that the Mavs tried to pull off was to get Deandre Ayton for Tim Hardaway Jr., Richaun Holmes, and JaVale McGee. Obviously, McGee's been cut. He signed with Sacramento late last week or early this week, whenever it was. Holmes is now fully tradable. The 60-day window has come and gone, so the Mavs can trade him. Tim Hardaway is certainly tradable, but JaVale, in terms of just matching salary / a piece that you could trade, is obviously out of the picture.
And obviously no one wanted JaVale because he got cut.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
At the end of the day, I just don't think that trade offer was ever going to be enough for the Suns to accept. I think they would want an actual asset, whether it be a draft pick or a young player in Josh Green and Jaden Hardy. I think they would at least want just one of those things.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of where you shift the thought to now. Is like, okay, if you really want to get Deandre Ayton, if you're Dallas, how far are you willing to go? What are you willing to give up? I think obviously what you're not willing to give up, I think it's easier to go that route. Luka, Kyrie, Grant Williams right now, which I don't think you can trade him right now anyway, and Jaden Hardy, at least for Ayton, are 4 pieces I don't think you would trade.
Agreed.
The question is, would you trade a Josh Green? Would you trade a Maxi Kleber? That's really where it shifts to. Are those 2 guys you would be willing to move to get Ayton? Because I tend to be in the camp of Hardaway and salary filler is probably not getting it done, if we're being completely honest.
The Kleber thing is interesting because I know the Mavs absolutely love Maxi Kleber and they adore what he brings outside of basketball as well. He seems like he's one of those guys that, kind of like Dwight Powell, is just going to be with the Mavs forever. So I wonder if they view him in that light and they really don't want to trade him. But if a deal like this came up where he would be the sticking point, I think they might end up pulling the trigger.
Well, and that's the question. Could a Hardaway and Maxi deal do it? Kind of a 2-for-1. You kind of pitch to Phoenix, hey, you're a top-heavy roster. Yes, Ayton's the best player in this deal, but you get 2 guys that can either start or come off the bench, and we get Ayton. Now, if I'm giving up Kleber with Hardaway, I'm probably not offering that first-round pick, but I wonder if a 2-for-1 like that could be on the table, because that would certainly be one I might be interested in exploring. And then, look, you just you find a guy that can give you some run at the 4. Maybe Derek Jones Jr. plays a little bit more than you initially expected. Now they signed him. You've got Markieff Morris as well. I mean, obviously, Grant Williams is going to play 30-plus minutes per game anyway, so you could probably make that work if you absolutely had to, even though we do know the Mavs value Kleber heavily.
Yeah, look, I think they could find – there are deals to be had for the Mavericks if they really want to make a deal. I just think they're looking for a deal that they would be – the winning end on, I guess, so to speak. They would want to be the team that is perceived to have fleeced the other team. So I think they're looking for a deal that would heavily favor them, and I don't know if that deal's out in the market at the moment.
Well, I'm going to ask the audience this question. Then I'm going to ask you a question, Coop, because I actually don't know what your answer to this is. Would you trade for Deandre Ayton, MFFLs? Type T for trade or P for pass. Go ahead and let us know in the comments. And 3 simple ways to support the show. Well, get the comments going. So, T for trade, P for pass. Like the video. 1 button. Click it. Boom. You liked it. Same thing with subscribe. Click it. Boom. Done. Out of sight, out of mind. And it doesn't charge you a penny. So if you want to support the show, I think we're going to have some fun in-season content this year. Coop might be going to some games, some practices. We might get some footage for you guys. So could be a fun year. So support the program, and we'll continue to plug out videos. And Coop, the question I have for you, would you rather trade Josh Green or Maxi Kleber in a trade to get Deandre Ayton?
I think the answer is Maxi, but it's closer than you may think. I just really value what Maxi does on the defensive end, especially from the rim protection side. He's literally the only rim protector on the team right now, and I think that he offers defensive versatility as well as pretty consistent three-point shooting, even though he went cold for a lot of last year, obviously hampered by the injury history. I'm still going to take Josh Green because I would rather keep Josh Green because he's the younger, probably more valuable asset at this time, but it's actually a tough conversation. I
think it has to be Maxi because A, Green is younger, and B, he's way less injury prone,
Agreed.
At least up to this point in his career. And I like Maxi for all the reasons you said. I think all things considered, both are fully healthy. You could make an argument that he is more valuable for this team this year than Josh Green.
No doubt.
We know he's going to miss games. He always does. Andy's 5 years older than Josh Green, whatever the case may be.
Maxi's pushing 30. I think he might be over 30 at this point, so he's way older.
30, Green's like 24.
23?
25, yeah, whatever it is. So, yeah, I mean, look, I think I would do a Hardaway, just kind of throwing this together on the fly. A Hardaway and Maxi for Ayton straight up, I think I'd pull the trigger on that.
Yeah, I think I would as well. I mean, it would be shocking if that actually happened, but I would definitely do it.
You think Phoenix would do that? They'd probably want something else.
I think they'd want something else.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Okay, Deandre Ayton, next team odds, by the way, and BetUS, place to go, chatsports.com/MFFL, promo code MFFL, plus 300 for the Mavs. These are still out there, Coop, so it's certainly interesting. Do you think a trade is more likely to happen now or sometime into the season?
I kind of like the end of the season thing, like maybe around Christmas, kind of like how the Mavs did with Rondo, where they kind of shook things up.
See how the first 20 games
go. How the first 20, 25 games go, and around Christmas you make a judgment. If you still want to do it, then you pull the trigger there.
Well, betting odds there if you want to go bet on Ayton landing in Dallas or elsewhere, and if you want to get going with BetUS, get going right now. Chatsports.com/MFFL. Got to use our link that supports us. Use the promo code that supports you because you get the 125% deposit bonus with that code MFFL. Go check out BetUS today, NFL games. Hey, we got Thursday Night Football tonight. Chiefs-Lions. Go put your money where your mouth is. Chatsports.com/MFFL. Promo code is right there, MFFL. I mentioned this earlier, Coop, in terms of embracing a fresh start, and Tim McMahon had reported that Ayton would be excited for a fresh start with another franchise, he says. Suns are expected to aggressively explore the trade market. This, of course, was a few months ago before a lot of the offseason played out, but you got to think if it was true then, it would be true now, at least to some extent.
I don't think a whole lot has changed as far as that goes. Obviously, they did, have a little bit of an organizational shakeup with Frank Vogel, with Bradley Beal, Matt Ishbia obviously coming in as well. But I still think if that was true 2 months ago, it's still true today.
Yeah, you got to think so. So here's the trade idea.
This is what I cooked up. I'm not sure this gets done from the Phoenix side, but this is like the best offer I could stomach myself giving to Phoenix.
Yeah. Hardaway, Holmes, Green, 2 seconds, Ayton. Yeah, I mean, look, it's a decent offer, honestly. Now, is Ayton probably worth a first-round pick in a trade? Yes.
I think so.
But Green would fetch a first, I think. Not a high first.
That's kind of my thinking as well. I didn't put a first in because I'm giving him Josh Green, so that kind of cancels him out.
And For sure, another rotation player in Hardaway, potentially a second one in Holmes, especially for a team like Phoenix that's very top-heavy. So, yeah, I mean, I would probably do this trade. I know we've been hesitant to move Green for a non-Miles Turner center, but I just think we're going to find out early in this season that center is going to be a problem.
It's going to be a problem,
The closer we get to the year, I'm just like, really?
I mean,
Dwight Powell's going to
it's Dwight
trot
Powell
out
and
there
Richaun
again?
Holmes with a little Maxi Kleber sprinkled in there. If you play extremely small, maybe a Grant Williams for a couple minutes. Derek Lively's just not going to play much early on because they don't believe he's ready, unless he just blows them away in training camp in the preseason to where he actually gets into the rotation. It's going to be a problem. Rebounding is going to be a problem.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I think that's why I think you could be right. That Christmas time could be a time where a trade like this does go down. Now, we didn't talk much about Jaden Hardy because I don't think I would move him, at least not right now, in a trade for Ayton. But maybe
Agreed.
You guys disagree. Who would you rather trade to acquire Deandre Ayton, or frankly any player? Type 8 for Josh Green, number 8. Type 1 for Jaden Hardy. His number, of course. Let us know in the comments. All right, Coop, I think we have to go on a little bit of a soapbox.
We have a bone to pick.
Because Luka and Slovenia were eliminated yesterday, yet they played him again today for what, 37 minutes?
He played 37 minutes. He went 7 of 21 from the field. They were down 20 in the fourth quarter, and the Slovenia coach still kept him in. Mind you, this is a consolation game. They cannot medal in the FIBA World Cup.
I was going to say, let me just first say this. This is dumb as fuck. I'm just going to say it. That the FIBA World Cup
Unbelievable.
has games for 5th through 8th place. That is ridiculous.
What are we doing?
Honestly, if it's not the Olympics, I don't care for a bronze medal game. Now, if it's the Olympics and you're a country like Slovenia, we saw this a few years ago, a chance to medal.
That's fine.
Of course you're going to play.
Absolutely.
If you're playing for 5th in the FIBA World
No.
Cup.
Yeah, that was for 5th, and then they're going to play tomorrow
now
again.
Now they play tomorrow for 7th. If Luka steps on the court tomorrow,
I want you fired, Slovenia coach.
The Slovenia coach should be on the FBI's most wanted list because that is a joke. And look, I'll be honest, Luka probably wants to play.
Oh, of course he wants to.
Hey, you're
he
not
ain't
allowed.
playing, dude.
I'm sorry.
The Mavs told Luka he ain't playing in the last 2 games of the season. He sure as shit shouldn't be playing in this game tomorrow.
And he's gotten beat up in this tournament, man. It doesn't sound like it's any real injury, but he's got a thigh bruise. Like, we got training camp in 3 weeks, man. I appreciate trying to put this team on your back with no other NBA
Don't
players.
get hurt.
But it's over, man. You lost in the quarters, so let's
it's over,
go
Luka.
out for shoot around tomorrow. Show the fans there some
That's
tricks, and then hey, you played almost 40 today. We're gonna call it a tournament, and sometimes things don't work out. All right, Coop, that's that. We will be back for part 3.
Yes.
Clint Capella, Turner, Capella, and we just talked about Ayton. So we'll see if the Mavs get one of these guys. Stay tuned for that. Be sure to subscribe.